Tired of just playing for fun? Make a living just by playing your favorite games. You can make anywhere from 1% to 1,000% return depending on the difficulty of the game. Play, win, earn. Bet VERUS.
And
I think we should talk about the virus, because I think that's the virus is actually the most important thing that's going on right now.
Yeah. So tell us how it is in China, and then whatever you think is going on in terms of the lockdown. Is it a bioweapon? Is it not a bioweapon? You know.
So basically, in China, I'm in Shanghai right now. They cured the virus 2 months ago. The Chinese, there have been no people in the emergency room in China. The ICU unit has been empty for 2 months, and we know that because we have doctors there. And in Wuhan, last 2 days, they finally emptied the ICU. So Wuhan was hit pretty bad. And there's some things that you have to understand about viruses. It is a bioweapon. Traditionally, historically, viruses don't come from animals. The reason, if you're studying a virus, you need a model where you can grow the virus. You can't just take prisoners and infect them with HIV to grow HIV viruses, right? You normally do that in animals. So when you have a virus that's in humans and animals, normally it was produced in a lab. So the virus, that COVID virus, the SARS-CoV, was apparently being cultured in that Chinese lab. But in animal models.
Let me stop you for a second, Synth, right? Because I want to pick on something that you said, right? So I know about zoonotic transmission, which is where it jumps from one species to another. I didn't know that it can't be done with viruses. So I know smallpox was zoonotic.
Cowpox, yeah, they use cowpox as a weakened version of the smallpox and the smallpox
bacterial. That's a bacteria, right? So bacteria definitely do jump over.
Well, viruses do too, but traditionally, historically, what we've seen is that the viruses that come off animals will cause a mild cold.
Right.
Deadly. They don't have a very large side effect. The human immune system could handle it. It wasn't until the biological weapon program started that we started to see viruses transmitted from animals to humans that started to cause health effects. There's actually a lot of viruses that do transfer from animals to humans, but almost none of them are even detected because people don't have symptoms.
Right.
Or the symptoms are very mild. So the virus, though, so in Shanghai, people are like, is it dying? What's going on? Okay, no one's wearing masks anymore, except on the street. But in the restaurants, they just take off the masks to eat. It's fine. The ICU has been empty for 2 months. The Chinese government is what I would call pragmatic. So the U.S. government says, oh, we can't use that drug. We can't use that drug, and it hasn't been tested enough, and I'm not sure there's enough data to use that drug, and we need more data. And no, if you use that drug, if you're a doctor and your patient's dying, you should do anything that you can to keep that patient alive, right?
Yep.
Maybe it doesn't work, maybe it works, who knows? You should do everything you can. And so in China, if they'll give them Chinese herbs, they'll give them Chinese medicine, they'll give them a vitamin C IV, they'll give them that malarial drug, they have a whole cocktail, and they don't know really, like they didn't do a study of 40 million people and 2-year clinical trial. They just say, oh, this worked on this patient, so I'll keep using it. So the doctors individually in the hospital know, okay, try vitamin C, yeah, and they use vitamin C for the inflammation, and it lowers the inflammation in the lungs. So does it cure them? No, but it helps the patient, right? It helps them because it lowers the inflammation. Vitamin C lowers inflammation. But if you do that in the United States, they will throw the doctor in jail. They will put the doctor in jail. They will raid them with the FBI, saying it's an unlicensed treatment.
Hold on, there is a New York chain of hospitals, New York City, that are using IV megadose vitamin C. So, and there are, I suppose, private practitioners or whatever that will use vitamin C.
But if you publicly say that, they'll say you're selling an unlicensed coronavirus treatment and you're violating the law. We're going to throw you in prison.
Right.
So, or fine you,
Yeah.
So they're Nazis in the United States as far as the health system. They don't care whether the people live or they die. They just care like, oh, you need a vaccine. Bill Gates is going to save us. And the only thing that can save us is Bill Gates' vaccine. Yeah. So everyone who has coronavirus, go to the Microsoft store, start coughing on people and demand that Bill Gates give you the vaccine. And don't leave the Microsoft store until Bill Gates saves you. Okay? Because only Bill Gates can save you. Only his vaccine. You can't go outside till Bill Gates saves the earth with his vaccine. Illegal.
We'll come to that, right? So you're saying in Wuhan and Shanghai, they've dissipated the virus. They've treated it by using all sorts of treatments, including vitamin C.
They would give them chicken feet if dried, dehydrated like chicken feed and cow dung, if it was antiviral and it looked like it worked, they'll try the Chinese will try 40 medicines, antiviral, herbs, whatever. Oh, that one worked. Okay, give it to the other ones. And they create a protocol which is highly proprietary. The hospital, we asked the doctor, what are you using to treat him? And they said, oh, it's a secret. We can't tell you because we're making money on it.
Right.
And each hospital has their proprietary, witch's brew, and they have some best practices. And there's better doctors and worse doctor. Like, so the family, in China, you go and this doctor's a better reputation. He's like, yeah, I cured 400 coronavirus cases, and the other doctor only cured 40. So you go and you pay that doctor more money and you give him a red envelope. And if the patient dies, the family can go to the doctor and beat him up, literally beat him up. Doctors in China get stabbed by the family because the patient dies. It's not but if the patient lives, they get a red envelope and they get some more money and the family's happy. But if they die, they'll hold the doctor responsible. So it's a bit of, in the United States, you die and people don't even, what do they do? Oh, sue me. But in China, if they told them, oh, we can't use that, yeah, it might save your parent, your father, but we can't use the drug because it's not approved. There's not enough data yet, so he's gonna have to die. Sorry, they would pull out a knife and stab that doctor. It's like, if he dies, you die. That's what the Chinese would say. Literally, like, he dies, you die. That's literally like what they'll do. So it's a different system. They'll hold them accountable. So basically you said you could save him, you didn't do it. I'm gonna cut your car up. I'm gonna, So anyway,
Okay.
the doctor. So in China, they did whatever they could, and what happened actually was the Italians were flying to China to get COVID. To get the virus treatment, and the Chinese government had to shut down the airport because the people flying in from Italy that were coming to China for the virus treatment were actually infecting the other people on the aircraft.
Right.
So they had this is crazy. So they shut down the airport because the Italians flying in for treatment. Because in Italy, the doctors were refusing to treat the patients. They just, oh, we don't have any drug. What do you want us to do? And China was the only country treating it. So that was pretty crazy when I saw that. But so they shut down the airport, which still shut down. But within Shanghai, the restaurants are open. Everyone's going out. Everyone's eating. And people wear their mask in public, but then they go in the restaurant and they don't have their mask. They're all talking and spitting on each other. So it's, I would say that the virus was under control 2 months ago in China. I think it was exaggerated how bad it was, except Wuhan. So there's several things you have to understand about viruses. As the virus spreads, it becomes weaker and weaker. It becomes attenuated. So typically you get a virus that spreads faster but has less severe symptoms. So by the time the virus has got to the fourth, fifth, sixth patient, it's dud. It's a dud. It's like just a cold. So the virus can start very lethal. Like Ebola can start 99% fatality rate, then it goes down to 90, then 50. And the virus doesn't maintain the lethality. And the virus typically hits the old people, hits the people with the weak immune systems, hits the diabetic people, hits the people eating, shit food. It hits those people first. And then once it runs out of those people, it's, and you found this because they did tests on the antibodies. And in some areas, 50% of the people have already have antibodies to COVID. So they've already been exposed to the virus. Their immune system is working. They have no symptoms. So only 1% of the people even got a cough. So you could have been infected and you could have been spreading the virus and your immune system's fine. You didn't have anything. You didn't even feel it. You didn't even know you were sick. And that's, I think, pretty normal.
I mean,
so the fatality rate.
That's kind of happening with me. So it's just a little pink eye, a little swelling, and a sore throat that won't go away, which is very atypical for me because I don't have any comorbidities. I'm in very good health. I don't get ill. So I do get that. But what about these people that have been, the reports I'm getting in the West about people being reinfected?
I think it's bullshit. It's just bullshit. But basically, there's Bill Gates says unless everyone on Earth gets his vaccine and he makes $500 billion, that the whole world is going to end and no one can leave their house until they release his vaccine. Yeah, he doesn't have enough money, and he's going to save he's humanity's savior, and all 7 billion people need to get this vaccine and go in his database, or they can't go on a plane. So to me, honestly, the stock market was going to crash. Everyone knew that this was going to happen. Like I can tell you, all the insiders, we didn't know it was going to be a virus, right? Yep. But everyone knew in January that a lot of CEOs quit because they had a really good run up, and they didn't want to be a CEO when the stock market crashes 50%. They want to say, look, it went up when I was there. They didn't want to be the guy sitting in the chair when the economy crashed, right? So a lot of people cashed out of the stock market in January, not even because of the virus, because a lot of things going on. They're going to crash it. They're going to blame Trump. They're going to try to make money on this virus any way they can. I saw people buying mask factories. I saw the Chinese government take over the mask factories, control the prices on the masks because they didn't want their, they have a cartel. They own the mask production, so they're selling these masks for $1 each, and they only cost 5 cents. So the Chinese government came in and took over the mask factories. And the month before that, people were buying up mask factories so they could produce them. And and so a lot of crazy people running around trying to make money on this, whether it's on the vaccines or the pharmaceuticals or the bailout money or get the banks use it as an excuse to get the government to buy out a lot of their bad debt and basically rig the financial markets. So they got a bailout. This coronavirus was a bailout for these banks. They had the repo market assets that were frozen, bought out. So by the central bank. So I think that this, everyone is pushing. And so is it a bioweapon? It's not is it a bioweapon? It's whose bioweapon is it? And I honestly, everyone benefited from this. Like the Chinese government benefited from it, the U.S. government benefited from it, the Canadian benefit. Like every single person, as soon as the crisis happened, they all rushed in to make money on it. Like it was really disgusting. But the medical system, the hospitals, like they're laying off doctors in the hospitals because they're empty. Like, and if you can't say that because they'll ban your video, you're not allowed to say that. It's don't tell them the truth. And doctors that are basically coming out and telling people what's actually going on are being censored. And nurses that are telling people the nurses have to sign an NDA. They're not allowed to tell people on social media what's actually happening in the hospitals. What's happening is they're laying off staff because the hospitals are empty.
Do you mean the hospitals in China or the US or the West in general?
In U.S.
Right.
In U.S. And the nurses, a lot of the, they did some medical decisions that, like, they shouldn't have, and the hospitals, if it gets out to the public how the people died, they're going to get sued for a lot of money. They had the nurses sign NDAs saying they can't tell, and you're not allowed to have a lawyer, you can't have your family there to see what the doctors actually did for the patients. Some of the patients in New York, the nurses don't want to enter the unit, and the patient flatlined, and they're letting them sit there instead of resuscitating them or hauling them out. They just let them die. They weren't doing anything. They tranquilized the patient. They put them on drugs. They blew out their lungs with this closed loop ventilator, which was done improperly. Basically, it's against the guidelines, right? And they just let the person die there. They had people that died, and they let them sit there in a room full of other people for 6 hours before they moved the body out. Like if it gets out to the public what actually is happening in the New York hospitals, most of the deaths were probably from the hospital. It wasn't from and they had doctors saying, we're not going to treat this patient with this anti-malarial drug because Trump said we should use it. And I hate Trump. So let the patient die because fuck Trump.
Yeah.
They literally were letting people die because Trump said use it. So we're not going to do it.
And also because of reports that he's only doing it for personal gain because he's got shares in that company. So that's why he's doing it. And then also in the UK, I saw a headline that a third of the people who get taken to hospital, that they die in this coronavirus. Plus also I saw a headline that the CDC is saying that all respiratory conditions where people die should be classified
as COVID.
Recorded as COVID deaths without tests or anything.
They gave a memo in New York, and they said if they come in and they have and they die, they're COVID. So the hospitals are doing this insurance scam where they're just marking the people as COVID deaths so that they get a higher reimbursement rate because the government is giving $18,000 to $300,000
I heard
per COVID patient.
39,000.
39,000.
Yeah, per COVID
so
patient.
The hospitals are also in dire need of money. They're running out of money. People aren't coming to the hospital. They postpone their surgeries. They're not coming in because no one can leave their house. So all the non-emergency services are suspended. So the hospitals are actually going under right now. They're having financial problems. So there's other reasons that they're doing this. And so
there's something else on the Duran.com today. I saw a short article about how Dr. Fauci in 2017 predicted that there would be a pandemic during Trump's tenure. And
I don't want to get like Fauci and Gates and Epstein and Wexter and you get into this and
oh my God.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Epstein, but basically, all these people, they all know each other and they're throwing shit at each other. Like they all did real estate deals with each other in the 80s and they're all buddy and they're to be honest, like there's some people that did some really nasty stuff to Trump.
Mm.
If I was Trump, I would have them assassinated. If I was a nicer person, like the stuff they did is crazy. If President of the United States having to deal with this crap and the illegal stuff that they did to him, like
the
these
Russia
people,
collusion,
in any other country, they would, like Russia, they would have been, Putin would have killed these people. But if Trump was a nice guy, he would have had them thrown in prison. And but Trump, it's been 4 years, and they know what they did.
Mm.
They know, and they know that Trump's not, I'm not saying he's a good guy or he's a bad guy, but like when they're doing crap like this and they're undermining the presidency and they're destabilizing the United States and they're doing really illegal things and they have so much dirt on him, I don't even know how they thought they were going to do this, and Trump's not is going to take it up the ass. Like, you think Trump's going to let them, like, so these people, they were just insane. They were delusional. They thought, we can do this. We can get away with it. We're going to get rid of them. And Trump should have had them thrown in prison. He is having them thrown in prison.
Still be coming. I don't know if you've been following what's happening with the Michael Flynn case, where his attorney Sidney Powell has had release of documents that the FBI had said we don't have them anymore.
The FBI forged the interview transcript. He said I didn't say. He said I did not in their notes. Then they changed it to say I did. So the FBI went in and they changed the testimony of Flynn to say exactly the opposite of everything he said.
Yep.
So the FBI should go to prison. Those people should be thrown in prison. They should be thrown in prison, stripped naked, flogged, whipped. They should be treating these people like they're treating Manly Branning.
They shouldn't. They're just doing what the FBI do. They did it to Martin Luther King.
Setting people up like it was Hoover.
The Black Panther
like
Party.
We're just doing what we were doing under Hoover.
That's right. Business as usual. The Federal Bureau of Insurrection.
Yeah, so they got caught basically, and Trump has people in the establishment that he's going to go after, right? And they're going to get thrown in prison. So they want to kill him or remove him from the presidency before he can retaliate. And these people are really, and I can't talk about it because I talked to some people in D.C. and they're telling me all these names of these people, and it's one giant cesspool. And I wouldn't say that Trump's necessarily draining the swamp, but he's definitely going to get rid of those people that screwed him, you know? And as soon as he gets his prosecutor in place, and so there's people in the establishment that don't like him because they screwed him, and he's going to defend himself. So, and they're crazy. So I think that.
Well, I think he's going to get reelected.
There's no alternative. Of course he's going to get reelected.
Joe Biden, a weak candidate with no policies, possibly being replaced.
Is he really running?
He's the nominee right now.
Is that final, or they?
Well, they may. I mean, I've heard some commentators saying that what could happen is that he get replaced by Hillary Clinton because of his senile dementia. Right? There's two things with Biden. One, he's senile dementia. Plus, he's got no platform, no support, nothing. Never mind his senile dementia.
His son got caught doing coke in a DC strip club. They're doing smoking meth in a DC strip club. So his presidential campaign's over. I don't know.
And the rape allegations and the corruption in the Ukraine that him and Biden were involved
and the sodomy and the sodomizing that poor animal and the gay sex phone parties
the hair of children, sniffing girls' hair. I mean, come on.
My precious.
Okay. Let's talk about the politics of the lockdown and whether to lock down or not lock down, because Japan and Sweden haven't locked down. Is it necessary? Is it essential?
Okay, so Sweden didn't lock down.